Am I the asshole for filming someone's kids and refusing to delete the video? My family owns a couple of neighboring lakefront properties that have been in our family for decades. My grandpa built one property in the 60s that was recently renovated and bought the next door lot in the 80s and built a smaller cabin there too. He passed those down to his two sons, my dad and uncle. My siblings, cousins and I have been spending time there our entire lives. We are all now in our 20s and 30s. Some of us, not me, have families and kids of our own now, and watching a new generation enjoy the lake is awesome to see. We had a pretty good crew up there for the 4th of July this year, about 15 people total. 5 of them are kids under the age of 5. A couple years ago, a family moved in a few hundred yards down the lakeshore from us. They throw big parties for Memorial, July 4th, and Labor Day weekends every year with a lot of people. They also have four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and golf carts that they allow kids to drive on the street. This street is heavily wooded on one side with steep banks into the ditches on both sides. It's narrow and hilly and these kids drive way too fast. People walk their dogs and kids on that road all the time. The speed limit is 15 mph, but they clearly try to go as fast as they possibly can. My dad and uncle have had numerous chats with the owners about the kids driving too fast. But the parents DGAF at all and brush it off every time. We've put up those neon flag signs that say, "Slow, kids at play," along our driveways, as have other neighbors, but it doesn't change anything. My uncle even tried talking to the county sheriff. There's no local police here, but he said unless they catch them in the act, there's not much they can do. So, it came to no surprise that over the 4th weekend, those kids were flying down the road on whatever vehicle they wanted. When I say kids, I'm guessing they range in age from 10–15. They were also driving while filming on phones and holding sparklers in their hands. So, I started filming them. I literally stood right next to the road in our driveway and filmed them flying past multiple times. I then posted it to the Lake Community Facebook page. It ended up getting a lot of attention with people calling out the behavior as dangerous, stupid, and bad parenting. I wasn't surprised at all when a few men from that family came over and demanded that we take the video down because it invaded their kids' privacy and we had no right to post that without permission. I told them I would take it down as soon as I have a chance to bring the video to the sheriff's attention so that we can document the behavior and let law enforcement do their thing. Some very choice words were exchanged with one guy threatening us with legal action. He claimed to be a lawyer, if we didn't delete the video. I told him if he wants to get the cops involved, go right ahead, I'm sure they'd love to talk to their kids about it. Not the asshole. I was all set to have a different judgment, but completely agree with what you've done after reading the post. My only recommendation, blur out the kids' faces in the videos that you've posted online because they are minors. You have the originals that you can show the police. Not the asshole. These kids are breaking the law and it's dangerous. Also, there's no privacy violation when they are in a public place and the dad already had been told to handle it. Not the asshole. There's no expectation of privacy on a public road. Not the asshole. There is no expectation of privacy in a public place. They have no legal grounds to stop you. Keep doing it and posting it online to embarrass them further. Eventually pressure will mount and law enforcement will have to act. It's the only way. They had the option to parent their children and be good neighbors. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for attempting to end the beef between my mother and wife? For context, my wife claims my mom is disrespectful, rude, and insulting to her in private and is asking me if she can cut contact a bit. I thought their relationship was good because she would go visit my mother about 3 times a week. One day I get a call from my mother and she's yelling, "Don't believe her." I didn't do anything. She just got up and left. I hung up and called my wife. She was driving home, crying because my mother told her she was a bad mom for checking her phone while feeding the baby, after a job interview, and basically scolded her. I got pissed off and told off my mom. A few days later, we go on a road trip and my mom won't stop joking about how chunky, ugly, and big my wife looks. I didn't say anything because I didn't want my mom to make a scene. Every time after that, my wife wouldn't eat whenever we'd be with my parents. She told me about all the things my mom supposedly said to her, but my mom denied everything. I don't know what to believe because my brother and his wife got divorced due to my mom's obsessive and disrespectful attitude while living with them. My wife told me about how uncomfortable she was and told me she doesn't want to spend time with my mother as much. I admit that I got upset and convinced her to come to my parents' house for Mother's Day. She was obviously uncomfortable but made an effort to talk to my mom for 3 hours. She texted me asking if we can go home. As soon as we get into the car, she breaks down into tears and tells me she feels very awkward around my mom now. I got angry and turned the car around. She kept begging for us to go home, but I really wanted to settle the beef with my mom. My wife kept crying while my mother and I argued. I felt bad because she was embarrassed and kept begging to go home. My mom even opened the back seat and grabbed our baby, which made my wife cry even more. My mom made a huge scene and kept denying everything. She said my wife has mental problems because she's hurt for no reason, that she causes me too much stress and I'd be better off alone, because of how I was yelling, and that I need to leave her. My wife was really hurt by my mother's words and cried about it a lot. She said she finally knew my mom hates her, which I know is completely untrue. She told me I crossed a line when I made her stay in the car. I admit I held onto her seatbelt and didn't let her get an Uber. She said she felt humiliated because my parents and the neighbors know our business now. We went home and she didn't want to speak to me. She mentioned that she was going to go speak to my mother in private, a day that they're alone, before I decided to bring up the problem. I feel like I did good by confronting my mom, but my wife is upset because she thinks I went too far and told my parents too much of our business. Am I the asshole for trying to end the beef between my mom and wife? You are the asshole your brother got divorced because of your mom and you question your wife? Dude, you need to get your mom in line or you will be divorced. Stick up for your wife. Your mom is crossing so many lines. Honestly, you need to take a huge break from your mother. She is a toxic bully and you are enabling her. You are the asshole your poor wife. She's burdened with unsupportive husband and a venomous mother-in-law. You are the asshole. You held your wife captive in a highly stressful situation. You're supposed to be her safe place. None of this is safe for her. You need to cut contact with your mom. Choose your wife, my dude, before you're the ex and all you have is your mom. You are the asshole. All day long you are the asshole. Your mom is openly taunting and abusing your wife in your presence and you don't know what to believe. How? Your poor wife. Can't you see what's happening here? Your post is full of evidence that your mom is the one causing the friction here. She is exhibiting classic signs of abuse. And, when your wife comes to you with the truth, you betray her by making her face your mother yet again? Man, you need a serious wake-up call. You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for my daughter? She needs to work through her insecurities and stop projecting them on me. F36 has 3 kids, F17 and twins F5 and M5. This is about my oldest daughter. Before the lockdown, my daughter was very athletic, took care of herself, had amazing grades, and all around cared about herself and her looks. During lockdown that all changed. We all gained weight from just sitting around and doing nothing, so I decided that this needed to change. So in late 2021 I decided to make healthier, still delicious, meals for my family and encouraged my kids to be more active. This was incredibly easy for my twins because they have so much energy. They would accompany me on my daily. They loved playing in our front or backyard. By the middle of 2022, my husband and the twins were back at our pre-lockdown weight and I even was smaller than before. Nothing about my daughter changed and it seemed she got bigger, which affected her tremendously. In my house, we still have a few unhealthy snacks cause I don't want to deprive them. At the end of 2022, I stopped trying because she's 17, turning 18 this year, but now she has been making really rude comments about me. When she sees me working out, she will comment rude things about my form and how I looked in my workout clothes. She also makes rude comments when I'm eating because I don't eat huge portions anymore. The rude comments have gotten me to the point that I am happy when she's with her dad so I can do my routine in peace. Yesterday, it was my twins' birthday and I got myself a small piece of cake because the cake my kids chose wasn't my favorite, and my daughter told me, "No matter how little cake I eat, I'll always be big." I was shocked when she said this and I was upset and at my breaking point, so I finally said, "You need to work through your insecurities and start taking care of yourself instead of projecting them on me." She ended up having a soured attitude all night and in the end called her dad to pick her up, which resulted in me getting yelled at by him and called a bad mom. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Edit. A lot of people think that I'm just mixing up my daughter's words. What I quoted in my story is exactly what she said. No words were changed. The comment was directed towards me, not herself. Another thing people say is that I care more about losing weight and being smaller than my daughter than her mental health. Am I supposed to be bigger than my daughter just so she feels better? Me losing weight has nothing to do with her but my own health. During lockdown, I was considered obese. I decided to make a change and now I'm considered a very healthy weight for my age and height. Another thing is that my daughter has a therapist. She's had one since lockdown. Another thing. I'm not an almond mom. I love me some Pop-Tarts or some goldfish. I still eat these things but in moderation. My kids have all their favorite snacks in my house. Also, for the people saying I'm fat-phobic, I'm not. What parent would want their child to be at an unhealthy weight? My oldest child is 4 feet 11, and over 200 pounds. She is considered obese. It's not healthy growing up weight but being completely unhealthy. I'm allowed to change things around my house so my family is healthy. Not the asshole. You are right. At some point, she has to stop projecting on others. Not the asshole. You are right, and you should maybe try to get your daughter in therapy because she seems to be struggling. I feel like your daughter is going through something and maybe you haven't been there for her. Because we all have a breaking point. You are the asshole. She obviously has been having issues adjusting for a while. Why on earth haven't you asked her if she wants to see a therapist? You are supposed to be the parent here and parents are supposed to help their kids. Changing meals and exercising worked for you, but that doesn't mean it will work for her mental health. Not the asshole, but it sounds like your daughter is really struggling. The pandemic was hard on a lot of kiddos and to me it sounds like your daughter really thrived at school and to have that all taken away during such formative years really took a toll. I would recommend therapy for her and maybe some more one-on-one time with you and her.